MMA Oddsbreaker, I'm Frank Trigg. That is Ryan Bader. What the hell, Ryan? What's wrong with your face?
I know. I'm seeing how it's going. I keep it for the fight. I don't know. I'm kind of breaking right now, but this is about the longest I've had it.
Are you doing a Johnny Hendricks? I mean, is it a wrestling thing
Uh,
now? Is it a hockey thing? Like, what are you doing?
I don't know. I was just in camp and just a couple of my buddies were just growing their beards. I was like, hey, I'll do it too. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Wow,
Kind of getting a little crazy
that's
right
the
now.
longest I've ever seen on your face before. That's for sure. Usually,
The what?
it's the longest I've ever seen on your face. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a little puffy out right here. It's pretty good. I'll do just like that.
All right, let's go back and talk about Glover Teixeira for a second. Back in September,
Hmm.
um, you got caught up in the first round. Like, he hit you pretty hard, and it kind of put you out of your game.
Yep.
Talk to me a little bit about what happened during that fight, because that was a big fight for you, and
Yeah,
especially down there
I
in his
felt good the whole
hometown.
fight. I hit him with some good punches, rocked him about 3 or 4 times. Afterwards he said he was kind of out on his feet for about 15 seconds there when I kicked him, kind of wrapped around his head. For me, looking back, I just got impatient and kind of went after it at the end, tried to put him away, and left a lot of openings. And I was swinging big wild punches at him. When I was staying tighter at the beginning, and that really is I needed to be more patient right there. That being said, one of those punches connected and knocked him out. People wouldn't be talking about that, but yeah, I was open, and he hit me with the first punch and the second punch, and then I just really couldn't move my body at all. And I thought I was in his guard, reaching up for him, and I was just letting my mind kind of get it back for a second, and I kept thinking, all right, another second, I'm feeling I'm about to a little better, I can move a little bit. But then the ref called it then. So I was conscious down there, but my body just was not responding to anything. So I was trying to wait it out, but it never came, and they called it. But yeah, I did feel good in that fight. One thing would be patience. I didn't have to go after him that hard and get in his boxing range. When he was on the cage, I thought he was more hurt than he was. But that's a kind of, when I look back, that's what I take from it.
Are you doing anything in practice now to help with that patience? Because that's a tough thing to teach. Even the best coaches have a hard time teaching an
Yeah,
athlete patience.
yeah. We I'm working with some really good boxing coaches, and I have with my last fight and all that, pretty much pure boxing. Then we have Aaron Simpson and a bunch of other coaches, kind of let them know what our plan is in the MMA realm. So they're on the same page. And what came back, and the first thing that the Boston coach said, he's like, "Man, you have to be patient out there, and use your jab, and don't rush into anything." So this whole camp, we're really working on being patient, and he's watching my sparring, he's watching everything, and that I've always had a problem with that. I want to go after it, I want to get it, when at the same time you need to stay back and pick your shots, and not try to put everything into every punch.
Well, let's talk about Anthony Perosh. He's your next opponent coming up on UFC Fight Night 33, December 7th, out there in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. So it's a great, nice, long 20-hour trip for you.
Yeah.
Then you get off the
Again.
plane, you get one meal, and you got to start working out. Like, it's going to be great. It's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of used to it now. I've fought in Australia before. I fought in Japan. I fought in Brazil in my last fight. I'm going back to Australia. So I have the routine down. How to deal with the flights and how to not feel jet lagged. And my body responds pretty well. I'm usually good the next day. I get there, get a workout in, kind of flush my body. Stay hydrated on the flight. My weight's really not a big issue, so I don't have to worry about that. And so I do kind of like, just, there's no distractions. You're out there just doing your thing, instead of fighting back in, Vegas or something like that. But, yeah, fighting Anthony Perosh, he's a veteran, does well on the ground. He's black belt, all that kind of stuff. He has a good ground and pound, and his ability to finish guys on the ground in a good top position, really. His stand-ups, is mediocre. Is kind of a little wild, and that's what you have to watch out for. He doesn't do the things right, so it's kind of like wrestling a wrestler with that doesn't really do things right and react the way. You can get caught with something that you're not supposed to be caught with, because he doesn't react the way you are if you're setting something up or anything like that. But I've been training Ryan Jimmo's out here at Power MMA, and he fought him 2 fights ago, and went out there, knocked him out in 7 seconds, and was watching his film on him and watching how he goes backwards, and kind of just timed it right. Then Perosh went out there and knocked out Vinny Magalesh. They both kind of came out there and he threw kind of a right straight and hit Vinny. So he does have power in his hands, and the fight I just feel is I'm pretty much anywhere the fight goes, I'm fine. If I want to take him down, I feel I can do that. If I want to keep it on my feet, I'm fine. And even in the jiu-jitsu world, I feel I'm right there with them, and I can even submit him.
When I first announced this fight, my first initial thought was, wow, this is a really, really good fight for Ryan if he has the right game plan.
Yeah.
If he goes out there with the wrong game plan, it can be another one of those where he gets knocked out or gets submitted very, very quickly. He's got to kind of – so if you stick to your game plan and have a good game plan, you win this fight relatively easily. But if you have a flaw in that game plan anywhere, it could be an early night for you. Do you guys have that same kind of mentality too?
Yeah, the patience comes along, and working on that. And then that's the biggest thing. I used to, in wrestling, my junior year in college wrestling, I went out there and I tried to beat everybody by 4 points, 5 points, or be up by 5 points in the first round. And I would try dumb stuff to do that. I would try something I wouldn't usually try. And, I had a mediocre year. And I remember a coach at the time, who was Aaron Simpson, took me back and he's like, hey, go win those wrestling matches by 1 or 2 points like you did your sophomore year when you're All-American, plays fourth, whatever. That's what you need to do. You need to grind it out and do that instead of going out there and looking for these big throws or these big takedowns, to be up by 5 points, So I think I need to go back to that mentality of being patient and looking for my shots and not trying to go out and finish in the first round or go get it right now. I need to be patient, and when the opportunity comes, jump on that. So that's one of the biggest things I think in this fight that's going to help out a lot.
When you lose, what's tougher for you, getting submitted or getting knocked out? What's the harder one for you to deal with when you're going back to the gym?
Probably being submitted, I'd say. Because getting knocked out, it could happen. You get in the right place, anybody goes down. Like the last fight, it sucks, but I was going after it and I was trying to get him too, and I felt it made for an exciting fight. If you go out there and get submitted, it's kind of like it kind of doesn't mess with your head, but you kind of come back and you're like, oh man, I drilled that over and over again because it's probably something that he does regularly, and you've seen it in his past in his videos, and you've been scouting that, but you get knocked out, it's kind of like, hey, he threw an overhand right and then a left hook, and I was open and he caught me, and so probably getting submitted for sure.
Last question before I let you out of here. When you win, what's a better victory for you, the TKO or submission?
Definitely a TKO or knockout. Because it happens really fast. It's submission, usually you're working on it, and it's 4 or 5 steps to get there,
right.
Unless you fall in a guillotine or something. So it's coming. But a knockout is just it's just kind of pure adrenaline. You hit him, and then you realize he's fallen to the ground, fallen to the canvas. You either jump on him, walk away, whatever, and it's done. And so it's just more emotional. So I like that KO or TKO victory better.
That's Ryan Bader. I'm Frank Trigg. Ryan's getting ready to fight Anthony Perosh. Thanks for coming on here with MMA Oddsbreaker.